It can be a daily grind for many of us. You know what I'm talking about. You wake up, you have to get breakfast ready, getting the kids out the door. It can be a lot. But for many who come to the Lafayette house, the whole day is a struggle just to survive. You're going to meet a couple of women who now wake up in the morning and they have love in their lives. They feel like they belong, all thanks to the Lafayette house.
They don't have to wake up every morning and wish they were dead. There's something out, you know. You're not going to find very many women in domestic violence or men in domestic violence or very many addicts that don't wake up every morning and are mad because they woke up.
He started getting physically abusive with my older daughter, who is not biologically his. And my younger daughter came to me and said, "Mom, this is not right." To have her realize that she knew it was that bad, I didn't think they knew it was that bad. I spent so long defending him and saying, "Oh, he didn't do this," or "Oh, he didn't treat us like that," because I felt like it was my responsibility to protect him. From my previous experience, I knew that once I left, I couldn't go back. I couldn't show my girls that we're gonna go back. So I had to know that I was strong enough to leave. And when they came to me and said, "Mom, we don't deserve this," it was time to go.
They started giving me alcohol when I was 5 days old. So they would dip my pacifier in alcohol to get me to take a pacifier because I didn't want the pacifier. So my mom and my uncle took turns dipping it in scotch and dipping it in whiskey to see which one I liked the best. I started taking alcohol to school with me when I was in grade school. I was a full-blown alcoholic in high school. Came home from work one night and had a party, and it was 2 o'clock the next afternoon when I started looking for my kids, and my kids were gone. When I got to Lafayette House, I was very, very angry. Very mean. The alcohol and drugs had kept me nice, but then, so I didn't have anything to buffer who I was. But I stayed. I wanted to prove to everybody that there wasn't nothing wrong with me, that I was okay and that they were the problem.
We left with our clothes and our just whatever we could fit into backpacks, and so we needed help just getting ourselves established and back on our feet. And we were referred to the Lafayette House by pretty much every local organization that we reached out to. And so I figured if that was probably a safe place to try. Anytime we have questions or feel unsure about what's going on, there's always somebody there that's going to be able to reassure us or provide some kind of service for counseling, somebody to listen to us. My girls need somebody to talk to that's not me, and they've been able to work with some of the therapists. I've been able to talk to people myself.
One lady, she kept stopping me every day to check on me, and she called me by name and asked me if she could help me, and then I found out later she was the clinical director. It was the kindness and the acceptance, and that everybody, it didn't matter how mean I was to them, they still were good to me. They still cared. In that, it just broke me. It broke the walls. It let me see. It was the first time I feel like I ever experienced love.
They're just as proud of me being successful as I am. And to look back on where we've been over the last few months, I'm a completely different person than when I started seeing services here. When we first came in, they asked, what kind of goals do you want? What do you want to do? We came here with no clothes, or with just our clothes, I can come in and say, look, we have an apartment. And they said, okay, well, what do you need to help for the apartment? furniture or kitchen things and stuff like that. And, I can come and share with my caseworker, I was able to get furniture, or I was able to get the girls' beds. And, it seems like simple things, but when you don't have it, those are victories. I know it's hard and I know it's scary and I know leaving seems impossible, but you're worth it.
What I want people to know is that $100 donation, that $1,000 donation, that time donation, whatever you give, it may be that one little thing to you, but that life that you're saving, that life that you're touching, is going to go on and touch thousands and thousands and thousands. It's so exponentially more than what you understand that you're doing.
If there's one thing for sure, domestic violence doesn't discriminate. It reaches out and touches friends and family who may not even know there's a problem, and then in a flash may not even know how to help. This is the story of one woman who unknowingly became a victim just by being a friend.
So I got there probably mid-afternoon, 3:30 or so.
It was just supposed to be an easy trip up to the Kansas City area to visit her vibrant and enthusiastic friend, Nikki.
Nikki was a wonderful, wonderful writer, and she had discovered Facebook. And so if you were talking on Facebook with her, you wanted to use good punctuation because you were talking to an English teacher,
Alice remembers that day in 2016 vividly.
We sat and we talked probably for 45 minutes or so, and started talking about some of the things that we might do, and I put dinner in the oven, whatever.
It was a beautiful fall day, first day of the World Series, sun shining through the glass front door.
And the next thing I knew, I said, oh, there's a young man coming to the door. I didn't even recognize Patrick. As I said, I hadn't been around him in quite some time.
Nikki's son Patrick showed up unannounced.
He just walked right in and dropped a backpack and said to his mother that he was there for $25,000, and if she didn't give it to him, that he would kill her.
Alice says Patrick had been involved in some illegal activity and was on the run, now threatening his own mother.
She sat and looked at her hands, and she would not look him in the face. All she would say was no.
Before this inevitable day, Nikki divulged that her son had been physically abusive. So knowing the background of the family dynamic, Alice tried to defuse the situation.
And I said, your mother's not able to get into those accounts. Everything's been locked down because of what's happened recently. I didn't say because you stole the money.
Then Patrick pulled out a gun he had just bought that morning.
But a gun changes everything. And within 30 minutes, it did change everything.
Alice says Patrick spoke on and on about how he needed the money, while his mother just sat there. Again, Alice tried to calm the situation.
By this time, too, the lasagna was more than done. It was burning. And I said, Patrick, you can follow me into the kitchen, but I'd like to take that out of the oven.
Alice pulled the lasagna out, but found no immediate exits from the kitchen area. She came back into the room where Nikki and Patrick were, Patrick now pointing the gun directly at his mother.
That's when I went out behind him. I don't remember touching the doorknob, the porch, the steps, anything, until I got about halfway across her really not so big front yard, and it just felt like I was shoved from behind.
Patrick shot Alice 5 times before turning the gun on himself.
And as I lay there, I heard more gunfire inside the house. The police don't know for sure, but they think he probably killed Nikki before he killed me, or tried to kill me. He was trying to kill Turbo.
Alice says she and the dog Turbo are the only 2 survivors of that tragic day, but Alice believes Patrick was a victim too. She confirms there was domestic violence during Patrick and his sister's upbringing.
Patrick never emotionally got on his feet again. Because of the times, there was no shelter, no beacon of light for them.
And that's what Lafayette House aims to become, a beacon of light to break the generational cycles of domestic violence and substance use disorder.
Things were not available to her in the late 80s, early 90s, and weren't available to Patrick or Kristen for that matter, that if you don't provide those kind of services for people, if you don't provide that kind of hope for people, you can become the unlikely victim yourself. Or if you turn the blind eye to it, you can become the unlikely victim yourself.
The Lafayette House does so much good work to the lives of the people that come through these doors, changing their futures and changing their lives, all thanks to the generosity of its supporters. Even during these trying times, being able to help them because of your help.